NXT starts off with a singles match between Ren Sinclair versus Kalani Jordan. This has been a continuing story with Kalani Jordan, with Ren Sinclair, Kendall Gray. This was a really good match between the two. I really enjoyed this match. They've been playing an injury angle throughout the entire match for Ren Sinclair, constantly having Kalani Jordan attacking the leg injury. That is something they've been doing with Kalani, taking advantages of her opponents, whether it's an injury or a distraction. So I've been liking what they've been doing with Kalani Jordan's character. This was a really good match. Kalani Jordan does pick up the victory. I'm assuming the eventual story that they're trying to tell is eventually Kalani, Kendall both want to go after the women's NXT Women's Championship. Eventually, they're just constantly clashing, constantly in each other's way to eventually get an opportunity for the NXT Women's Championship. Kalani is the heel, taking the more ruthless route, the more cheating, heelish route, or Kendall's trying to do the more do it the right way. I like the story they've been telling here. I love what they're doing with Kalani Jordan. I really do. I love what they've been doing with her heel character. I like how she's presented. I like how she's using her brain in a lot of these matches, constantly taking advantage of the opportunity whenever it presents itself, constantly using distractions, constantly using injuries. I like what they're doing with Kalani. I really do. I really love what they're doing with Kalani. I like how they're presenting her. Now, I know what the end goal is for Kendall Gray to eventually beat Kalani Jordan. I'm assuming that's the route. Now, I wonder if Kalani Jordan is going to be the next challenger for the NXT Women's Championship after Izzy Dame just lost to Lola Vice. I'm interested, is that the next challenger? Because I personally think that would be the perfect opportunity for Kalani to fill that role to be the next heel to go out to Lola Vice, in my personal opinion. I can see potentially a part where you can even potentially make it a triple threat with Kendall Gray wanting vengeance, wanting some revenge at Kalani Jordan potentially. So I like the overall story. I like the multiple roles and ways this could go, because I could potentially see all of them being in the NXT Women's title picture. I could see potentially Kalani separating herself from Kendall Gray for a bit to go out to Lola Vice, and then Kendall Gray, you could easily reunite the feud. But overall, I've been enjoying what they're doing here. The end goal is for Kendall Gray to eventually beat Kalani Jordan. We just don't know when that's going to happen, whether it's going to be for an NXT triple threat match, which I could see that happening, or it's going to just be a regular singles match to eventually elevate Kendall to eventually become a number one contender. But nonetheless, I've been enjoying this story, and I have been loving what they're doing with Kalani. Kalani Jordan just continues to impress me every single week. Every single week, she continues to impress me every single week, man. And it just continues to shock me how much I like this character. Because, again, I used to not like Kalani Jordan at all. Like 2 years ago, I could not stand her. Now, she's one of my favorite wrestlers in general. So I've been loving what they've been doing with Kalani Jordan, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Moving on, we end up getting a Dark Stake promo. They end up explaining their reasonings for why they kicked out Saquon, why they ended up attacking Saquon last week. They basically end up hyping up themselves as they're all having professional athlete background, how they're all very similar, how they're all special athletes. They was all athletes at the highest level, and Saquon was just a regular indie wrestler that just didn't fit in. And then eventually they end up mentioning how he got jealous and how he didn't want to work as a team. He just decided to start thinking more about himself and stop thinking about the team. I didn't notice that they were all athletes. They're a part of the whole. I forgot the program that WWE does when they get athletes to become WWE wrestlers. It's the same thing that Braun, Trick, and all of them was a part of as well. I forgot what it's called, but that is crazy how they're all a part of the same thing. But they end up mentioning how they're all freak athletes and how they're all belong together in the same group. Then eventually Dion ends up mentioning how they got rid of the weak link and that Dark Stake is back on top, and they're coming for all the gold, which should be very interesting. It was a segment later in the show where Dark State attacked Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights when they was having a backstage segment, so they're continuing that storyline, potentially Dion going out there the North American Championship, which I do like, and they're potentially having Dark State potentially go out to the NXT tag titles whenever they eventually want to tell that story as well. It did end with Dark State ended up doing their signature catchphrase, and then you end up having Saquon in the background on top of a truck just watching Dark State from afar. So I do like that. So I am very interested to see how do they handle Saquon as a babyface? How do they handle him as a babyface? And how do they handle him attacking Dark State and him going after him? Because he's going to need allies. He's going to need some help, because there's no way he's going to defeat this faction by himself. So he's going to need some help. He's going to need some allies. And I'm curious to see who would help him along that journey. And I wonder, how is he going to be presented as a babyface? Because we haven't seen babyface Saquon. So very interesting how they present a babyface Saquon. And I am a bit concerned when it comes to this Dark State group, because I will say this. Saquon was one of the better he was arguably the best member of this faction. So I am interested to see how they're going to work with kicking out arguably their best member of this faction. I'm going to be honest with you. So very interested to see how this eventually unfolds and how the faction works together. Because again, Saquon was arguably the best person in this group. So kicking him out, it's a very bold decision, honestly. So I'm interested to see how this story plays out. But this story can go really well. This could benefit everyone, or it could go really bad where they all just needed to stick together. So we'll see how this plays out. But overall, I am very interested. We ended up getting a singles match between Jada Parker versus Layla Diggs. This ended up becoming a thing due to last week. It was a backstage segment between Layla and Jada Parker. They got into it, so this ended up becoming a thing. Natalya ended up being ringside for this match because she was also involved in this. Because this whole thing is starting with Natalya confronting Jada, saying that she got soft. Jada took offense to that, and Jada has been constantly confronting Natalya over and over throughout the weeks. She's been constantly this mainly been a social media feud, not an on-screen feud. They mainly been pushing this feud mainly throughout social media. So I've been liking that. Jada Parker won, which thank God, because I was worried. I thought she was gonna lose this match. I ain't gonna lie. I thought the story that they was gonna tell was Jada Parker lose. Then eventually she gets trained by Natalya, and then eventually she gets, starts winning matches. But thank God that's not the route they're going. It looks like the route they're going to go eventually is Natalya and Jada Parker have a match, and then that eventually becomes the thing that elevates Jada Parker. Look, I just hope eventually Jada Parker gets her time. That's all I'm hoping for. With someone who is as over as she is, I just hope she gets booked better. That's all I'm saying. Now, I don't mind her not now right now I don't mind her not being booked at the top only because the NXT Women's Division right now, it's kind of stacked right now, and due to the people who are holding championships, I'm not mad at it. Because it looks like Zarya eventually is going to get the North American Championship, so I'm cool with her not winning the North American Championship. The NXT Championship, that looked like that's going to be a bit busy too with Lola, Kendall, Kalani, so it's like, you know what, fine, Jada Parker can take a back seat, but she's been taking a back seat for a very long time with her being arguably one of the most over, so it's just like, but we'll see eventually where this story goes. I'm not going to say I'm interested because I'm not the most interested in Natalya. I'm really just interested in Jada Parker, but I'm just interested more so, are they really going to is this really going to elevate Jada Parker? That's my only concern. That's really my only thing. Is it really going to elevate Jada Parker to push her to the next level? We'll see how this eventually unfolds, but I'm not going to I don't have the highest expectations of this storyline. Afterwards, we do end up getting a quick Tony D'Angelo promo. He basically ends up mentioning all the new NXT talent, all the talent that's trying to go after him for the NXT championship. Then eventually he ends up calling out Naraku. They need to get his name right because they keep saying it differently. Like, I think Tony D'Angelo called him like Naruku or something like that. They got to get the name right. Please give me a consistent name. Is it Naraku, Naroku? Like, what is it? Like y'all got to start saying the name consistently. Y'all got to start saying it right. But Naraku comes out. He ends up telling Tony D that they was destined to fight each other and that he's going to make sure he retains and make sure nothing happens in his championship match against Cam Hendricks next week. Tony D'Angelo is kind of confused, and I was kind of confused as well because I don't know what he meant by they was destined to face each other. Um, but he ends up mentioning the rematch against Cam Hendricks that's going to happen next week. Cam Hendricks eventually comes out. He basically is this overconfident, arrogant guy mentioning the recent rise and mentioning him pinning Miles Bourne, him beating multiple champions in the tag match that happened last week. Tony D ends up mentioning his background, mentioning how much he struggled, how much he had to overcome, and then mention how Cam is just this athlete who just gets everything handed to him and that he's going to retain next week. Cam tries to attack Tony D'Angelo, but Naraku had his back, ended up taking out Cam Hendricks. This was an overall fine segment. I will say this. I am liking Naraku. I will say this. I did like Naraku. Naraku does have, I don't like using this word a lot, but he does have a bit of aura, which is very rare when it comes to certain wrestlers in the Japanese, because typically majority of the Japanese wrestlers for me don't have the aura that people tell me that they have, but he actually has some aura. And his promo skills aren't half bad. Now, I do like the mysteriousness of his character, which I kind of like. So I am liking what they're doing. They are presenting Naraku in a good way. I hope it continues and it's going well so far, and I am interested in this Naraku character. Now, Cam Hendricks, I do not like this dude. I'm sorry. I just, look, he has the look. He has the look. He's tall, has a great build, but bro, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if it's a lack of charisma, but when he speaks, it comes off so forced. Like it's like he's trying to cosplay a wrestler instead of being a wrestler, if that makes sense. I know that sounds weird because they're all cosplaying someone, but there's a difference between when you're acting and then you're actually being in the role and then you trying to be in the role. There's a difference. Like with him, it's like he's trying, it's like him acting as if we were trying to pretend to be a wrestler. It's very weird. Like he just comes off very forced. Like he's trying to, it's like he's trying to force charisma and trying to force aura form. Like it's very weird. It's very cringe. I can't get behind it. Look, maybe he just needs some more time because he's still green, but my God, he is like it just comes off so forced. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if he don't have the charisma. I don't know what it is, but it comes off very forced. And it's just him. The other NXT call ups, I don't have an issue. Like Mason Rook comes off very natural. Tristan Angels comes off very natural. Shiloh Hill comes off natural. Who else? Tate Weiler comes off natural. Like everyone else comes off natural, but him, it just feels so incredibly forced. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get behind Ken Hendricks right now. He has the build, but character wise and everything else, my God, I just can't. Moving on, we end up getting a segment which is looking like the dissension, the downfall of the culling. They've been telling this story for like a good 2 to 3 weeks, where it looks like eventually they're going to kick out Shawn Spears out of the culling. Last week, it was announced that Shawn Spears ended up making it where they was going to have a match against OTM the same night as Izzy Dame's NXT Women's Championship match, and Nico and Izzy didn't like that, and they was very confused, very frustrated. And then on tonight's show, he ended up attacking OTM before the match even began, and Nico was frustrated because he didn't know about it. And then Izzy confronts him as well, ends up saying that was basically a bad move, where Nico and Izzy are on the same page while Shawn Spears is looking like the odd man out. And then in the tonight's match against Izzy Dame and Lola Vice for the Women's NXT Championship, they both ended up getting kicked out due to OTM attacking them due to the earlier shenanigans that Shawn Spears pulled. The match was great. This was a really good match. Really enjoyed it. We ended up having some shenanigans with the ref. It was a moment where Izzy Dame accidentally attacked the ref. Then you ended up getting Lola Vice ended up getting the upper hand where she no, Izzy Dame got the upper hand at first, if I'm not mistaken. Or Izzy Dame ended up using the belt to attack Lola Vice. She ended up picking up the well, no, she didn't pick up the Lola Vice kicked out. When that happened, I knew Izzy Dame wasn't going to win. I didn't even react when she hit her with the belt because I was like, because the spot before they did it with Lola Vice, where Lola Vice hit the back fist, but the referee didn't wake up, and Izzy Dame was able to survive. So then they end up doing that the spot after where Izzy Dame hits her with the championship belt. I knew Izzy Dame wasn't going to win. I was rooting for her because I love Izzy Dame. She's the most she's the most underrated NXT women's wrestler in NXT. She's the most underrated. Then it's Kalani, but I knew she wasn't going to win this match because I think Kendall Gray is going to be the one that's going to dethrone her. So I knew that Izzy wasn't going to win, but it was a good showing for Izzy. But Lola Vice kicks out. Then eventually Lola Vice ends up hitting another back fist and ends up picking up the victory. Retains the NXT Women's Championship. So it looks like they're telling the story of the calling eventually breaking up, which I don't know how to feel about that because we just got Dark State breaking up. Now we got the calling, and also your NXT tag division is not that good because you got Vanity Project, Dark State, Hank a Tank, Birthright don't even act as a tag team, so I don't know what's up with them. That's 3 teams. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but they don't have a deep tag team division. So getting rid of one of your OTM. So you got 4 teams. Getting rid of the culling, you would have 4 teams. So it's like, I guess you can still make it work. So you're not really using them anyway. So I guess. Plus, I don't really see the point of Izzy Dane having a faction unless it's with other women, because having 2 guys by her side that don't really do anything for her, it doesn't really make sense for Izzy Dame to really have that because they don't really help her win matches. Well, actually, they kind of do at times. So I guess they kind of help at times. But I don't mind if they disband, if they kick out Shawn Spears. So I don't mind it at all. We'll see eventually where this goes. Interested to see who's going to be the next competitor for Lola Vice. I think the perfect person is Kalani Jordan. She's on a win streak right now. It makes perfect sense. They have history as well. They've been having a little bit of back and forth. It makes perfect sense. And then you could easily insert Kendall Gray as well to get her revenge. So it makes perfect sense in my opinion. Overall show, I thought this was a really good overall show. I thought this was a good overall show. From top to bottom, really not really much to really complain about here, but you guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.